bloop, 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 bloop. Is this for real? Of course it's for real. Of course it's for real, chat. You think I would lie to you? You didn't get excited by this, Carlos. Nah, I think that's totally fine. Hello everyone. I'm just letting people flock in for a little second here before we really get going. I want to say these ghost headstones, they've come a long way. This is the same asset they used for that cut God's grave area from Dark Souls 3, which then found its way into the Ringed City, and they used it in the Castle Morn boss arena. There's a big one of these, and now they're here. So it's like somebody really has a hard on for these stones. Yo, Dork Moonblade. Haha, Dork Moonblade. Good one. It's another dimension, I believe. That's possible. That's possible. Yeah, so everybody throw in your theories. Let's go through them. I see here we have... This is the most interesting part, of course, is Mikola on Torrent. Is Mikola the old owner of Torrent? Because I thought it was Ronnie. Hello? I just got in. What do you think it's gonna be about? Well... See, the fog makes me think of Godwyn and Deathblight and such. Especially from the Worm Face area outside of, like on the Altus Plateau outside of Lindell. But then you also have Mikola here. And you also have what seems to be like, I don't know, this weird golden elixir flowing out of this seemingly like burnt out earth tree. I'm like, is this... What is this? Is this Godwyn? Is this another Halleck tree? Is this Frenzy maybe? So I'm like, are we just seeing an expansion to all of these alternate systems for fixing the Golden Order expanded upon? Right? Imagine if they did that. Imagine the balls of them being like, the DLC is gonna add 2 hours of content to the end game of every build. So now you need to play through the game 6 times to get all of the DLC. Torrent without his backs. Torrent is without his backs, but like this doesn't have to be Torrent. It could just be a different horse. This is Mikola confronting Godwyn's Deathblight. It's possible. It's possible. I think they would be kind of crazy not to make this a really Mikola-focused DLC. Mikola is probably the most sort of enigmatic and interesting character. Mikola, maybe Renna, or whoever Ronnie's Snow Witch mentor was. Either one of them. Or like, maybe, like again, Godwyn. I think there's something you could do with that whole Deathblight thingy. Or, let's see, the way Mikola writes Torrent evokes fairy tale vibes. Yeah, it's very like Liv Tyler in Lord of the Rings or whatever. Do those ghost poles remind anyone else of the Clean Rot Knight Spears? That's actually a good point. I hadn't thought about that. But I think these are just... See, I don't know, because they kinda, to me, it's more like a horseshoe. But no, it's actually too round for that. I don't know. That's a good point. Maybe it's the Crucible. See, the Crucible would be really interesting, because they did tease that... they did that Crucible tease a few months back on, I think it was on the Steam page, where they're like, who do the Crucible Knights really serve? And I'm like, Godfrey, what is this? Is it even the same tree? It's probably not the same tree. Like, this is not the Earth tree, right? Because the Earth tree does not bend like this. This is more like just a random Earth tree sapling, but it's like, it's crooked. Hey, it's crooked, yo. Lord deep diving a DLC announcement. Yeah, I mean, look. I got an hour out of work, just randomly, and then the DLC news dropped, and I'm like, I know what I'm doing. Aren't those the shapes in the Rot Lake where Melina first formed? Is it? It could be, it could be, it could be. I believe there's at least 2 expansions. Copium. Yeah, that is pretty copium. I will say, I just replayed Elden Ring twice. First with the Dragon Dex build, then with a Sword and Shield Intelligence build. And I spent like 80 hours replaying the game twice. And now they dropped this DLC news because I was just scripting out for the eventual commentary. I'm like, I'm gonna have to kind of have a good handle of what I have to do and the topics I want to talk about. And I'm like, the basic sort of outline for the commentary is ready. And then they dropped this damn DLC news. And now I need to play it again, damn it! The terrain is too flat for... maybe it takes place in the past. It might be Earthtree from the past. The terrain is too flat for it to be a snowfield mountain. Yeah, that's also another interesting point about the terrain. They really seem to be emphasizing... And look, there might be no actual meaning behind this, or nothing deeper to read into. They do seem to really emphasize the sort of open world aspect of the game, which I do think is probably the best part of Elden Ring. But, you know, I was really hoping for a DLC that really got more... See, I was really hoping they would do more underground stuff. Because I think some of the best dungeon crawling is in those areas. But, like, I don't know. Like, again, with adding another Torrent section, Torrent disappears in the end game. Right? So, like, if you do, like, the Halleck tree, which is, like, the most difficult area, like, the highest level scaled area in the game, if you do that kind of near the end, you can't write Torrent. Farum Azula, there's no Torrent. Lendel does not have Torrent. Lendel in Ashes does not have Torrent. Godfrey, Radagon, and Elden Beast, there's no Torrent. So like for the final stretch of the game, Torrent just disappears, which is really baffling because like Elden Beast, it feels like a fight that was originally maybe designed for Torrent because it keeps zipping around everywhere, and it feels like, you know, you've been like giving me this horse, and then at the end you just like, I can't use the horse anymore in any section. It's really weird. So that is really interesting that they're sort of reintegrating Torrent into an end game area. I'm assuming the DLC will be scaled to the end game. It would be really baffling if it wasn't. And I also wonder, because I think the end game is really poorly balanced. I think after Lendel, there feels like there's just a massive spike in difficulty, which is not... I don't think it's a smooth transition. I always find myself having to grind like 20 levels to just get passive armor defenses up high enough. Maybe I need to get good. It's possible. It's possible. But maybe if a DLC that sort of slots in right after Lendel, right around the mountaintops area, if you give me a DLC that has 20-30 passive levels to give, then I'm like, okay, you can sort of smooth out the end game a bit better. And that's really what I hope we get with this DLC, more than anything else, is that I think Elden Ring is like a 9 out of 10, right up until you beat Morgoth, the Omen King, and then it's kind of like, I think it really dips, right? It still like has these periods of greatness, but it's like, it's not quite as tight, if you know what I mean. I think maybe Torrent trivialized Elden Beast too much and they decided to remove him from the fight. It's possible. It's very possible. It is very possible. When is the official reveal? E3 time? Maybe, hopefully. Look, if FromSoft decides to go to E3, E3 will finally be worth it because like Nintendo's not going, Sony's not going, Xbox isn't going, Konami's going for some baffling reason. But look, if FromSoft decides to go to E3, that'll be fun. I love E3. I love seeing Isa Tyler cringe her way through a Ubisoft announcement festival. But like, I don't want to see anything announced from Ubisoft. I think Ubisoft needs to announce a new CEO and a new direction for the company, if anything. I say time travel because didn't the Earth Tree used to be a wheat sap? Oh yeah, that's actually a good point. That's actually a good point. This could be... Because they've done, like... the Hunter's Nightmare is time travel, kinda, right? It's like, yeah, it's a dream memory of a place, but it is... You are going back in time. Same with Artorias of the Abyss, right? So, like... Even like the Crowns trilogy, that's kind of like time travel, you know, a little bit. And Dark Souls 2 had that whole time travel plot cut out of it. At least like when you're talking to Vendrick in the memories, I feel like that's kind of time travel, DLC-wise. So, yeah, and like the Ringed City DLC, that's kind of time travel-y. So I wouldn't put it past them to do to dig into that well once more. Ubisoft new CEO DLC leak. Look, yeah, I would love to pay extra to get a new CEO in charge of Ubisoft. That company is mismanaged from top to bottom. Michela's dream? Possible. Yeah, like, because Michela is like the perfect one. Michela is the good one. Out of all of the deities, out of all of these demigods, they all suck except Michela, who's like seemingly the best one. And then Michela is corrupted by Mog. Cancel Mog, he sucks. I think Mog is probably more problematic than even Rykard, and that's saying something. Yeah. This definitely looks like Michela. Like, look, if this isn't Michela, I swear to God, like the braids, the hair, right, looks like a girl dressed in white. That's Michela. That's what Michela looks like. I don't like the title though. I feel like this is like the most sort of generic, made-up title in the world. Shadow of the Erd Tree. But this was posted by the official Elden Ring Twitter account, so it better be real. He presents himself as the good one. We don't know how much he actually is the good one. True. But like, Michela seems to at least... like, Michela made a home for all of the disposed of and abandoned creatures of the world. Michela tried to solve the Scarlet Rot problem, and they decided to corrupt Michela. Mog did, so it's like, you wouldn't need to do that if you were trying to do a character that was already bad. I also think that this is another Berserk thing, where Michela is kind of like a Griffith, where you have like this fair, beautiful, clean person. And Griffith wasn't clean, and like like in the Golden Age he wasn't clean, but like whatever. He was kind of a douchebag there too. But then there's like a corruption that happens, and because they kind of did the same thing for Manus in that DLC, where like Manus is this guy who like lives in this cell, and then after some great amount of torture becomes like this creature of darkness. I don't know. Mog is just giving Michela some aid. Yeah, when I saw Shadow of the Erd Tree, I thought it was another meme. It's such a meme-y title, right? They had that fake leak, which was like Barbarians of the Badlands. That sounds more real than this. It can be a new character. That's the thing. It could be a new character, and that's so annoying because that's how they do these things. Where like Father Ariandel, like this was obviously always supposed to be Velka. It looks like a gigantic crow monster. It's Velka. It was supposed to be Velka, and then they're like, nah, what if it's a new character though? And with so many of this stuff, it's always like you're changing narrative focus instead of expanding on what you already have. So I would love a Michela DLC where we like see Michela's dream, and then the dream being corrupted by Mog's influence, and maybe we have to go into the dream to... It's kind of like the Hunter's Nightmare DLC. We have to go into the dream to put Michela to rest, to end Michela's nightmare before it can be born out of the egg into the real world or whatever. But they might legit just be like, nah, so what we're gonna do is, you know the Glowmite Queen, which was clearly always supposed to be Melina? Yeah, well, it's no longer Melina. It's a new character. And the Glowmite Queen is gonna team up with the Snow Witch. But it's not the same Snow Witch who trained Ranni. And it's like, what's even the point? Like, just expand on the stuff you have. Please don't make these new characters. Elden Mid really getting a DLC? Ooh, what's a take? This screenshot all we have, or are we waiting on something? So far, I think this is the only screenshot we have. Michela can mind control people, essentially, so they may have something sinister going on with them, despite so many of their actions seemingly being benevolent and superior to the Golden Order. That's actually true. Michela has this anime protagonist power of making people making people sort of fall for him and want to serve him. So like maybe it's Torrent's mom. It could be Torrent's mom. Imagine if this is a Torrent DLC and Torrent is sort of like the main character of the DLC. The absolute balls. The absolute balls. Tree looks to me like the Halleck tree. Alright. It feels like, I don't know, I feel like the Halleck tree wasn't as crooked as this. And it's also interesting that like, because I thought it was like a golden liquid, which it is, but it's also like kind of cracked out like it's burning or something. Or maybe it's just like gold inside of it, I don't know. But it's clearly like turning to ash. So is that the death blight? Is that what this is? Is like Miquella's dream being infected by Godwin's dream? Or I don't know. I don't have answers, Chad. I just have the questions. Maybe Miquella's just a good person? Yeah, maybe. Torrent DLC. This might be the end of the Crucible, given how much sap is pouring out of that very twisted tree. That is actually a good observation. And like you have Godwin, Miquella, the Crucible, Renna, or whoever trained Ranni. You have like these lingering sort of threats, the Glowmite Queen. You have these lingering threats in the narrative. I would really want them to actually be able to incorporate all of them into the DLC, so that we can have some sort of narrative closure on a lot of these points which didn't really get the time to shine because they were all just tucked away somewhere for the player to discover and then kind of get blue balls on. Like Fortis Axe, my god, what a cool fight, except it's way too easy. And then that quest just sort of ends. Hello? No resolution for me! Torrent's mom gonna be named Pre-Cracked De Nouveau Codex No Virus. What are the ruins, you think? The Churches of America? I think, like, these arches, I don't think there's anything important about them. These graves, like, these are just, like, the passive gravestones we find in the overworld with, like, runes in them. This, like, yeah, maybe it's a church, I don't know. You seem just like another generic ruins entrance. I'm wondering, is there anything here? This looks like it could be like an ashen summon, but it could also just be smoke. That's the cool thing about doing these things. You just like, you read into stuff. You know. Hi, Mercy. Maybe we see the Halleck tree die in this DLC. Maybe. It's gotta be something with Miquella and the Glowmite Queen. Maybe. I wish we could meet Godwin. Godwin is like the Chad of Elden Ring. Everybody seems to love Godwin, and then Godwin got... Like, look, Ranni sucks. Straight up. She sucks. She sucks so hard because she did him so dirty. Might be cool if we go to the past and see the shattering happen, and maybe we see Godwin become Elden Lord with the sky going from gold for Miquella to black because of Godwin. Maybe. We'll probably fight Miquella's Shadow, fight Malenia's Shadow, fight Scarlet Rot, Malenia, fight Miquella's evil, scheming Radagon, half-born from Mock's Blood Mother. Yeah, and then we have to find Godfrey's Nobody, and we have to fight America's Heartless, and... Looks like two different trees together. That's possible. That's actually like... Yeah, that sort of twisting, looping thing, that's actually a recurring imagery in Elden Ring. You can see it in the old Elden Ring we find in Malekith's boss arena. They have that sort of spiral loop. The Godslayer Greatsword has that spiral loop thing going on too. And you can see it, like, it's in the lightning attack, which Placidus Axe does. It's in a lot of different imagery, and it seems to be like that sort of unity of binaries, which is also symbolized by the two fingers. This lore, man, this lore is insane. 10 poison swamps? Psh, 10 is easy. I can do 10 poison swamps in my sleep. What are you doing? There are ghost soldiers further ahead in the distance. Are Aren't these just headstones and spikes and such? Chat, you lied to me about the ghost soldiers. I swear to God. I just think these are headstones. Oh, the spiral tree's breaking the tree. Oh, hey, that's actually a... Yeah, wait a minute. This tree here is completely straight, and then you have this other tree that's sort of like parasitically grown around it. That's a good catch. Gorav VJ. That's actually a really good catch. Then yeah, this might be genuinely be the Earth tree. It's full of like the grays of gold. And you have like this other tree that's sort of growing, like this sort of parasitic tree growing and trying to crush it. Okay, and this is, yeah, this could be Godwin's tree because it's like all dead. It doesn't have any leaves attached to it. It's turning to ash and such. Yeah, that's a good catch. So it's like, it's breaking the Earth tree, man. I just thought this was like one tree, but no, these are clearly two trees. Nice, interesting. It's also really interesting that this is like, it's so wobbly and corrupted with what seem to be like little faces, like eye, mouth. This is like a head. Here's another face. But, you know, here's another possible face, but I'm just looking for faces now, so I see them everywhere. Is this a face? Eye, mouth. Almost looks like it's bleeding. Yeah, precisely. Give me your goddamn golden grace, lady. Maybe we travel to a possible future. That's... Ooh, that's good, that's good. Because yeah, like... This might be the Earth tree after we burn it. Because it's like completely blacked out. So maybe, chat, maybe. Mikola is returning as the Earth tree is being tainted. Possible. Maybe like, what if this is just a new ending to the game where we burn the Earth tree and then we're like, nah, I don't want to burn it anymore. I need to revive Mikola so that we can fix it. Because like, what I love about Elden Ring, what I think Elden Ring does so much better than all of the previous From games, is the ambiguity of the ending, where Dark Souls, the ending is you either continue to perpetuate the cycle that's rotting the world, or you end it. Demon Souls is you either continue to perpetuate the onslaught of the demons, or you put it back to sleep, the old one back to sleep. Bloodborne is you either just like lose yourself in the blood drunkenness and wait, like you end the hunt, or you don't. You kind of transcend the hunt. Sekiro is like, you can save Ashina, or you can become a demon. Whereas with, like, it's always like, and then what? Like, and it's always like, the morality of the endings, I feel, is never quite as ambiguous as in Elden Ring. Because Elden Ring doesn't provide you with, like, the objective positive future. It just has, like, here is the order of the world that has been broken. And there are mechanisms which exist in the world that can mend it. Now, the world after you've mended the order, it can be whatever, but it cannot continue, like the world does not need, like maybe reintegrating death would be a right thing to do. Maybe Rani, like search for enlightenment in the stars, maybe that's the right thing to do. Maybe the golden order is the right thing to do. There's so many different answers, and it's kind of like if the driving like if the age to drive, the legal driving age was like 99, and everybody's arguing, no, it should be 16, or it should be 17 or 18, and you're like, I can see the argument for 16, I can see the argument for 18, but I don't really care whether it's 16 or 18, I care that it isn't 99. So all of these different paths the world can take, the choosing the correct path doesn't really matter as much as not lingering in this sort of dying and rotting world we currently exist in. And I think, yeah, that could be interesting if they sort of expand on that aspect of the game with Mikolas. New lore. Sekiro needs a Journey to the West DLC. Sekiro is not getting DLC. I'm sorry. But it's over. Like, the time is gone. Maybe a DLC, maybe a sequel. Microsoft is trying to buy Activision, so maybe. If you want Sekiro DLC, genuinely, the best thing you could do is put all of your energies behind Phil Spencer buying Activision, and then pester him on Twitter for a Sekiro sequel. Because Microsoft, they're dying for a hit, right? And if they can press the button to activate a FromSoft exclusive, they will press that button immediately. So everybody, we need to get behind this corporate acquisition. 6 endings is too few, lol. Now, I'm not saying they're too few. I'm not saying we need more endings. I'm just saying, like, it would be interesting if we had a DLC that sort of expanded on this idea of what happens when you choose a change, right? Because, like, you have a button in front of you that says everything's going to change if you press this button. And you need to, like, in times, when times are good, you don't press this button. But when times are bad, you press the button. But what if everything changes and it just gets worse? It definitely looks like a ghost in the center of the plane when you panned over it to zoom it. I did? Chat, there's like a 30-second delay, so you won't be able to direct me through it. I'm not seeing a ghost. Yo. I'm not seeing a ghost, chat. I feel like you're lying to me, chat. Are you talking about the tree? Is that the ghost? We need a Bloodborne remaster first. I'd love a Bloodborne remaster. A continuation of the different changes. Yeah, like, they would never do that, right? Like I said this earlier, imagine a 2-hour extension to the ending where, like, you need to beat the entire game 6 times to get all of the, to get your money's worth out of the DLC. I can't believe it's happening. I can believe it's happening. You don't sell 20 million copies and then just sit on your hands. I think the reason it's taken this long to get the DLC, though, is that I genuinely don't think they expected this game to do as well as it did, and they didn't plan a DLC initially. And then they had to, like, free up resources and human capital to be able to make this. Something that is interesting is that I don't know much about the COD content of Elden Ring, but what they do have is, you know how Mirkwood can be hit by the asteroid after you defeat Radagon, and then everything in that arena sort of changes? My understanding is that there's a lot more of those functions in the world that were dummied out in development. So, like, there would have been possibly a sort of meteor crater in Liurnia too, and in all these different areas. So there's a lot of different sort of world organizing state machines which aren't actually being used. And that might just be because they were like, nah, this doesn't play well. But that might be something they do in the DLC, just reincorporate all of these global world changes. But if they do that, the commentary is off, because then they're like, you're basically doubling the workload I need to do. Is this possibly the snowfield without the snow? I don't think so, because it doesn't feel very mountainous. Right, there's like some mountains here in the background, but if anything, this seems more like the Altus Plateau to me. And then maybe these here are the mountains on the other side. But no, actually, because there's no way of making, like, if this is the Earth tree, look, I don't think you can actually, like, I don't think this geometry makes any sense, because chat, I'll show you something really cool here. You know, you Google Elden Ring map, you think you just get an image of Elden Ring's map, but apparently not. Or, well, no, maybe it does, actually. Because, like, the Earth tree is over here, so if Mikola is, like, here, looking over, then these could be the mountains. But, like, Not really though, because like the Erdtree is so close to a shoreline, and there's no shoreline here. Like there's clearly no shoreline here, so I don't think we can read too much into the geometry we have going on. The tree in the distance looks like a pre-pruned Halleck tree, maybe in the earliest and nascent form. Are we going to the past? Possible. Hopefully we get some new weapons in the DLC. Yeah, somebody in the Discord, everybody, you can join the Discord, link in the server, link in the description below. Hey, somebody in the Discord mentioned that shields are really non-functional in the in Elden Ring, and I do think that, yeah, you know, I would like shields to be of more value. I don't see why I can't use a shield while I'm riding Torrent. That seems weird to me. Might be a painted world scenario. Oh my god, you know, you're not even wrong, because we have those artist shacks. Who is the artist? Maybe that's the God dang it, you got me on another one of these tangents where they're like, we're gonna expand on the worst part of the game, where it's like, yeah, we'll make the artist the main character of the Elden Ring DLC. Or the Glowmite Queen or Saint Trina. Yeah, could be. Trick weapons would be nice, but that's a Bloodborne thing. Yeah, I think like I think weapons like Vike's spear and like the weapon arts, that's variable weapons enough for our for what we have. They might connect all Souls games with this DLC. I will blow my brains out if they do that. Straight up. Great whips, please. Oh, that would be pretty cool. Elden Ring is an absolutely unbalanced mess. Dual whips is by far my favorite build in Elden Ring, without a doubt. With patches, they've actually balanced it pretty well. Okay. We need an Ash of War that lets us do cartwheels like the Frogmen. Oh my god, chat, could you imagine if they bring back the Bone Wheel skeletons and you can get the Bone Wheel shield like you could in Dark Souls? Or Dark Souls 3. But then, the weapon art is you can just ride the Bone Wheel and you can become a Bone Boy yourself. Maybe a portal to a different land outside the land between. Yeah, that's also possible. But I don't think we're abandoning the lands between in the DLC. I feel like if we abandon that, we do that in like a sequel. Usually from software, DLCs don't tie up all the loose ends in the base game, but present new loose ends and expand the mystery. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Shield's not functional. What about where you can block a hit and repost guard counters? Yeah, but like I think one of the biggest problems with Elden Ring is that if you want to like parry with a shield, that's mapped to the same button as the weapon art, and it's like, what? Why is this? You know that R3, when you press the joystick in, it sort of centers the camera behind your back? Just get rid of that function. Nobody has ever used that function. Ever. That's never been what people use that function for. Nobody likes that function. It's never been used by anybody. Make that how you activate the weapon arts. Right? Do that instead. No, I'm sorry, not R3. That's, because one of them locks on, but one of them is just centering the camera. Anyways, make that how you activate the weapon arts, and give me, like, my shield back, man. This is ridiculous. If you couldn't make Mikkel a DLC, what would your second pick be? Ooh. You know, probably Vike, but Vike is already in the main game. But like, I think Vike is probably my favorite character in the game, because I love in these games, and you see this in Bloodborne, and you see this in like the Kingsfields, going back that far. There's this idea of like the narrative that you are going through in the game. This has already happened in the world once before, and because it has happened in the world before, you can sort of do a bit of archaeology and figure out, different ways which your story could have played out if the variables had been different. So Vike is what happens to a tarnished who refuses to burn his maiden. So like, but like Vike, the problem is Vike's story is already in the game, but I think that could have been a really cool DLC if you're fighting the would-be Elden Lord, who was like he is every bit as strong as you. That wasn't the problem. He could have easily beat Radagon and the Elden Beast and all that. He was strong enough, but he was too compassionate. And then you have like, oh, okay, that's a really interesting perspective to bring into this game, I think. Painted World of Rykard? Yuck. Camera centering is useful for aiming. I guess. But like, yeah, I mean, I guess, but dang it, I just want to use my shield and have a weapon art too. I wish there was an option to give Vike the unalloyed needle so we can talk to him. Ooh, that would be pretty cool. Where like after you defeat him, you can use the unalloyed needle, and you just like, it's kind of like Vendrick, where you can just sort of like have a chat. Maybe the whole Frenzied Flame thing is actually, because like this is obviously not the Frenzied Flame. This is clearly a different earth tree growing up to sort of crush and break the old one, and Mikola's here riding. But I don't know, maybe Frenzied Flame would be a cool alternate DLC to go through. I'm looking at the image myself and I'm not sure it's a soldier now. Nah, I don't think it is a soldier, sadly. Godwyn DLC? Yeah, I think this is the Godwyn and Mikola DLC. When will this change the base game? Ooh, probably not. See, my original thought for a DLC was that either we were just gonna go into Mikola's Dream, and that's like a new biome or something, which maybe utilizes bits and pieces out of the old map, or they were just gonna add a new island to the world and we can just travel to the island. Maybe like in real time you travel there, like you have to get on a boat and maybe it takes half a minute or something to sail over there, and you can like explore the boat and fight enemies on the boat, and it just like the boat just goes in a circle. But this to me feels very much like a conversion DLC, just from like the vibes I'm getting. Could be wrong though, I could be very wrong. It'd be cool to see Radahn in his prime. Yeah, that's something I really like about these games, is that all of these legends that you're destroying, they're so like gone, they're so out of it and so past their prime already. Could be able to talk to a young Vike before he claimed his first great rune. Maybe. Play Lunacid, please. I did play Lunacid. I streamed it. It's on the AesirAesthetics additional channel. I even recorded a conversation with the developer, but there was too much background noise, so we'll have to reschedule a different recording. Honestly, I hope this is the final piece of Souls-like content that FromSoft makes for a while. That sounds a bit like the Morrowind DLC. Wasn't there a cut content video showing some initial concepts about dreams being events in the open world? I think so. But like, we cut content because they couldn't get it working, or cut content because they chose to go a different way. You never know. You never know. I hope they add the removed armors like the rugged set. Yeah, probably. When going to start, hi to all. There's no start to anything. This is we're just looking at an image here. And also we're about to end because I only got like an hour to talk about this, and I have to go back to work. Damn it! Oh, the man, chat. The man is bringing me back to do his dirty work. Patreon.com/medievalmegaman. I would love it if From Software made a tank control horror game. Yeah, they did. They made Kuon. I think that's a tank control game. But yeah, like I'd love to. I'd love it if FromSoft decided that we're just gonna go Goblin mode and make a lot of different kinds of games now. Back to the grind. Yeah, back to the grind, chat. Nose to the grindstone. Oh! It's fine. Anyways, chat, this was the Elden Ring DLC announcement, conversation, thoughts, and thingamajig. Yeah, gotta get going. Gotta have a coffee before I get to work, so I have to quit a bit early. Gonna be exciting to see how this goes out. But like I said, you can all go to the Discord link in the description if you want to continue the DLC talk in the Discord stream server or whatever. Bye bye!